What is going on, guys? I am Andy Cobra F1, and today I would like to welcome you to my ship. This is my ship. It's really not anything special. But anyways, today we are on our ship today. I just said today a lot of times. I am on my ship today to teach you how to do a balance rotation and or a madness rotation in Star Wars The Old Republic, game update number 3.3. Now I'm going to be doing all of this on a Sage. So the terms that I'm going to be using if you normally play a sorcerer are probably a bit unfamiliar for you. Down in the description below you will find a key, a translator if you will, for the abilities. So for instance, Force and Balance is Death Field, Force Serenity is Force Leach, etc, etc. All that information is in the description below. Feel free to check that out if you can't translate it yourself. And up here in the top left corner you will be able to click to see this rotation in action on a 1 million dummy parts. I'm not going to be doing a full 1 million dummy parts for you guys today. I'm just going to be showing you the highlights of the rotation and the things that you want to keep in mind. So first of all, I want to talk about offensive cooldowns: mental alacrity, force empowerment, your attack adrenal, and your force potency. Now the things about these offensive cooldowns is when you want to pop them. Force Potency will consume charges whenever you cast a direct force ability or a channeled force ability as well, like a telekinetic throw. So you want to keep that in mind when using your Force Potency. You want to make sure that your Force Potency hits go on your Force Imbalance and your Force Serenity, because those are your two hardest hitting abilities, and you want to give them the highest chance to crit as possible. So to start your opener on here, you're going to want to get your dots up first. You have your Vanquish, your Weaken Mind, and your Sever Force. These are your three dots, and you want to keep these up on the boss as much as you possibly can, especially your Weaken Mind and your Sever Force. Those should never be off of the target. So to start your rotation, you're going to cast your Vanquish, and then your Weaken Mind, and then your Sever Force, and then this would be the time where you'd want to pop all of your offensive cooldowns, and then do your Force Imbalance and your Force Serenity. Now at this point you're going to be doing fillers, which is simply a Telekinetic throw and a Disturbance, and then a Telekinetic throw and a Disturbance, and then two more Telekinetic throws. Now you're only doing it like this whenever you're under the influence of mental alacrity, because it allows you to. And then reapply your dots, another Force Imbalance and another Force Serenity, and then back to your filler, Telekinetic throw and Disturbance, and then two more Telekinetic throws, 1, 2. Now if you notice that my Vanquish comes off of cooldown before that second Telekinetic throw cast finishes, you want to go ahead and clip your Telekinetic throw, because you want to get your Vanquish back up as soon as possible. And also the timing will work out on that, so that after you reapply your dots, if you'll keep an eye over there on Force Imbalance on the 5 key, that it is immediately off of cooldown and available to hit if you clip that second Telekinetic throw. So we're going to do this rotation for just a little bit longer so some of my cooldowns come off and you can kind of see what we do here. So it's just Vanquish, Weaken Mind, Sever Force, Force Imbalance, Force Serenity, and as you see, my Force Potency is now off of cooldown. So we're not going to pop it just yet. We do want to get it popped as soon as possible, because keeping that on cooldown is the best thing. We want to do it immediately after we pop our Vanquish, because our Weaken Mind and our Sever Force will not consume charges. We consume one charge with the Force Imbalance, and we should consume the second charge with the Force Serenity as we did. So there we go. That's essentially the entire balance rotation. Is just dot, 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 Force Imbalance, Force Serenity, and then back to your filler rotation. So some other things to keep in mind when doing this rotation is that your Force Imbalance is a dot spread. Now it will not spread your Vanquish, your Crushed, but it will spread your Weaken Mind and your Sever Force. So this AoE that you have right here, if say there's a mob right over here where I'm standing, if I hit the first target that has it on there with the Force Imbalance, it will spread my dots to any other targets within that AoE. So that is something to keep in mind in AoE situations. It can be a very good AoE for you to have. It does do quite a bit of damage whenever you can get that dot spread to multiple targets. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The other thing too is your Force Serenity and your Force Imbalance will heal you for a portion of your health. And also your Weaken Mind, your Mind Crush, as you see these green numbers popping up on me constantly. You're about to see a big one right here, 9477. Your Force Serenity, whatever you hit the mob for, that's how much it's going to heal you for. So it is very helpful in raids. It will help your healers out quite a bit running this rotation, running this spec as opposed to running telekinetics, because Telekinetic does not have any kind of self-heal. In your opening rotation, you want to pop all of your cooldowns at the same time, but after that, you want to pop them as soon as they're available and get them on cooldown once again. I always pop them immediately after I cast my Vanquish, even with my mental Alacrity, just because that's how I do it. Another option you can do is you can wait until after you do your Sever Force to pop your mental Alacrity, because what that's going to do, as you see right here, is it's going to give you a you're still going to get your reduced cooldown on your Force Imbalance and your Force Serenity, but you're going to be able to squeeze in an extra Disturbance during your filler rotation right here. Just like that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And that's really all there is to it, guys. Some other things you want to be aware of are your defensive cooldowns, your Force Mend, your Force Barrier, your Force Armor, and your Restoration. Those are all things that you can be using essentially on cooldown to help your healers out. Force Barrier and Situational. Force Armor increases your reduction, and if you spec into the self-heals from your Force Armor, which I normally do, depending on the fight, get 2% of your total health, so you get 1100 ticks. A lot of self-heals and balance, which is something that's missing from the TK rotation, which is why, in my opinion, balance is the optimal DPS spec for a Sage and or a Sorc at this point during game update 3.3. The damage output is relatively similar. If you click on that link on the top of the screen, you'll see that I do 4410 DPS in balance on a 1 million hit point dummy using this exact rotation that I have just shown you. And TK, you're only going to get about another 100 DPS, but I trade that 100 DPS for 900 heals per second in balance if you're keeping your rotation optimal. Words are hard. But anyways, if this guide has helped you, if you enjoyed the video, if it made you laugh, if it made you cry, if it made you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments or get at me on Twitter at NABCobraF1. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day.